Hey there, it's me again. So, the other day I searched for the world's top 5 most critically acclaimed actors, and I got a list. I wanted to know what made these actors so critically acclaimed. What even does that mean? So, in no order whatsoever, I'm going to start this list with the great Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando is arguably considered one of the greatest actors in the history of all cinema and stage. Now, Brando revolutionized acting with his naturalistic approach, often referred to as method acting. For those that don't entirely understand method acting and what the technique even means, method acting is a technique where actors deeply immerse themselves in their characters by drawing on their own experiences and personal emotions to create authentic performances by applying those emotions and experiences to the actors. So Brando's ability to inhabit roles with such realism and intensity, he set a standard for acting in film, and as a result was an exceedingly versatile actor with an almost limitless range of portrayal, thus inspiring generations of actors to follow. He pushed boundaries to explore deeply complex characters. Stanley Kowalski in A Streetcar Named Desire.
Oh yeah, that's right, Oriole. That's not my territory. Man, look, it goes fast in the hot weather. You want a shot?
No, I rarely touch it.
Well, there's some people that rarely touch it, but it touches them often.
Terry Malloy in On the Waterfront.
You remember that night in the garden? You came down my dressing room and said, "Kid, this ain't your night. We're going for the price on Wilson." You remember that? This ain't your night. My night, I could have taken Wilson apart. So what happens? He gets the title shot outdoors in a ballpark, and what do I get? A one-way ticket to Palookaville. You was my brother, Charlie. You should have looked out for me a little bit. You should have taken care of me just a little bit so I wouldn't have to take them dives for the short-end money.
Well, I had some bets down for you. You saw some money.
You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody instead of a bum.
Don Vito Corleone in The Godfather.
I worked my whole life. I don't apologize to take care of my family. And I refused to be a fool. Dancing on the string held by all those big shots. I don't apologize, that's my life, but I thought that when it was your time that you would be the one to hold the strings. Senator Corleone, Governor Corleone, something.
Another Pesanovanta.
Well, this wasn't enough time, Michael. Wasn't enough time.
His contributions to film are celebrated and studied by filmmakers, actors, writers, scholars. His name is synonymous with excellence in acting, and his body of work remains a testament to his extraordinary talent and lasting influence on the art of cinema. Now, what do I think? I think Brando was a fine actor. He made amazing use of method acting, and I think his performances were exceedingly memorable. And he's left a lasting legacy. I think that there's complete legitimacy when people name him as an inspiration and an influence. I think he's vastly influential. So here comes the critically acclaimed beating that I'm always looking for. So I also think that Brando had a tendency to be what I would refer to as a lazy actor. So for the filming of Apocalypse Now, he pretty basically disregarded the script that Coppola gave him, this script that Coppola killed himself over.
So the whole company was sitting up on the set, around the camera, the crew all poised to go and shoot, and Francis and Marlon would be talking about the character. And whole days would go by.
One of the things Francis said to Marlon in the beginning, read Heart of Darkness, this is what we're going for. And Marlon really worked hours with Francis trying to develop the dialogue and develop what it was that he said in these circumstances. And of course, after Francis had some dialogues with him, he realized that that Marlon had never read Heart of Darkness, and it was a complete shock.
And instead of really sticking to the script, he engaged in this strange, rather cryptic improv.
What is necessary to those who do not know what horror means? Horror. Horror has a face, and you must make a friend of horror. Horror and moral terror are your friends. If they are not, then they are enemies to be feared. They are truly enemies.
So the improv was actually really kind of poignant. And it could have played very differently, and worse yet, quite silly in the hands of other actors. Which goes to say, even when Brando is doing wrong, it still ends up being pretty awesome. Now, sticking to this theme of laziness, the part of Colonel Kurtz was written as a Special Forces soldier. I mean, this is a toughened, hardened, war-tested veteran, and not that, he's not a slacker. He's a very tough guy. Brando shows up to the set quite the opposite. Shows up rather overweight and had to be quite creatively filmed to hide this fact. In spite of this creative filming, there were points where this was entirely inescapable. Though I believe that Coppola, in the end, just pretty much leaned into the overweight Brando as kind of a quirk of Colonel Kurtz going native.
Well, he was already heavy when I had hired him, and he promised me that he was going to get in shape, and I imagined that I would, if he were heavy, I could, use that. Immediately when I saw him, I said, well, I'll write this as a man who really, had indulged every aspect of himself. So he was fat, and he had 2 or 3, tribal girls with him, and was eating mangoes and kind of go the other way. And he was very, very adamant about he didn't want to portray himself that way.
Watch the documentary Hearts of Darkness to really understand all of that. You can find it on YouTube. It's a brilliant behind-the-scenes kind of thing for people that, if you were a fan of Apocalypse Now, see it from that side of the camera. It's amazing. To basically conclude, on the whole, I'm a fan of Brando. I think he was a fantastic actor. He's not my favorite actor, nor is he in my top 5 favorite actors. He's proven to be vastly influential notwithstanding, and quite notable as a performer. Like, subscribe, tell me I'm the worst person ever for not having Brando in my top 5. Eat your cereal with a fork. Thanks for watching.